everyone, Valerie here. Today I want to share with you kind of a review slash overview of my homeschool planner that I used this year. We are in our last week of school, so now obviously I should have an idea of how it worked for me, right? So I did use a completely DIY homeschool planner last year, and I did not purchase any inserts or any downloadables. Everything were free printables. Obviously I did have to use ink and paper, so that was the only cost. I already had the binder, but if you don't have a binder, you would have had a cost of a 1-inch binder as well. So I will have the video of this in the link below when I shared it at the beginning of the school year, and now I'm just going to kind of go over how it worked. So this did work okay. It worked perfectly with my two younger ones because I am about 80% responsible for any of the work that they get done on a given day, meaning they are still too young, well, not now, but at the beginning of the year and mostly throughout the year, too young, too small to really do any independent work without me sitting there either helping them or eyeballing them, because if I get up and walk away, or if I'm there but not paying attention to them, they would not do their work. They wouldn't focus. They started off the school year at 5 and 6 years old, and now they're 6 and 7. So I wasn't expecting them to be able to work very independently this year, nor not so much next year, though we will be adding a little more independence next year on their schoolwork. But for the older two, who work mostly independently, aside from me helping them occasionally when they need help, or also having to tell them focus and do your work because they're lollygagging or whatever they're doing, it didn't work as great as I hoped and wanted it to with them this year. And I think I honestly have to say, I have to take the blame for that. While I do hold them responsible for their own work, there's specific actions that I feel were my responsibility that maybe I slacked on and allowed them to be irresponsible with their work. And they're kids. Whether they're able to work independently or not, they are still kids. They're going to still do kid things. The Bible says that foolishness is pent up in the heart of a child, and I don't care if they're 3 years old or 13 years old, they're still a child, and foolishness is still pent up in their heart, and they're going to do stupid things. And what I mean by that is my older two, one is now 13 and the other is 11, so they're about 5th and 7th grade. There would be weeks where they would be lying, basically, deceiving us that they were doing their work when in reality they weren't, or they were doing very minimal of it and saying that they completed all of it. And then when I did check their work, there was a huge chunk of work missing from multiple subjects across the board for multiple weeks. And here's where I take the blame. We have a school schedule where we do school for about 5 or 6 weeks, and then we take a full week off. So during that week is when I would lesson plan for the entire 5 or 6 weeks following. But then that would also be when I would check their work, actually check, grade their work, though they don't really get grades other than on tests and stuff, where I do actually give them a percentage to determine if they're ready to move forward or not. So when I wasn't on my game about just looking at their work, doing a visual check, maybe not every day, maybe once a week, maybe just pop up on them and say, hey, let me see all your math for the past 2 weeks. When I wouldn't do that, that's when they would slack and they would lie, and I would find out about it, and I would be so frustrated. There was a point this school year with the two of them that I was at my last wit's end, and I was literally ready to go and enroll them back into public school because I just couldn't deal with their crap anymore. But like I said, I have to take responsibility in this as well, because it's not only them. Yes, they were being deceitful. Yes, they were lying. Yes, they were being lazy. They were not doing their work. But me as the parent and as the teacher, I should have been more diligent in keeping up with at least visually checking their work every day, that they actually did it, and not just trusting their word for so long. But the thing is that when you trust somebody, you trust that they're being honest with you, and then when you find out that they lied to you, that trust is completely shattered. So then you tend to not believe them. At least I do. I tend to not believe anything they tell me anymore because you've already broken that trust. But I did finally, near the end of the year, figure out a way to be more diligent on my part and also hold them more accountable so that they're more diligent on their part in getting their work done. So that's quickly what I wanted to share with you before. That's really the main thing I wanted to share that really changed how this planner did or didn't work for us. Like I said, it worked perfectly for me and the younger ones because it was mostly up to me to for them to get their work done. But for the older ones, because they're so independent, I needed a system that worked for both of us, for them and me, to still have them be independent and have me be able to know that they're not hiding and lying and skipping school, because essentially they skipped school, they didn't do their work. If you did that in public school, you would be skipping school. So let me go ahead and turn the camera around and show you this very simple thing that I added to their daily planner to add that extra accountability, not only for me, but for them as well. Okay, so here's the week 1 of my oldest homeschool planner. Now, the way I started out would be to list it by subject and then have the entire week's worth of that subject listed in a bullet point. So we tried this for a couple weeks, but it wasn't really working because they weren't being diligent in getting the work done. So what I would have them do is every day you can do one lesson from each subject and check it off. And then when I would check it and I would see that your lesson was complete, I would highlight it yellow. So this was a good week for him, but this ended up not really working well because they weren't doing well with choosing how much assignments to do each day to be able to be finished by the end of the week. They still needed me to break it down by day. So here is when I started doing that, and I started breaking it down instead of by subject, by day. Here you can see at the top I have Monday, Tuesday, Wednesday with the subjects, and I started listing. So Monday, this is all that he would have to do. And then Tuesday and so forth, and then down here I would have Thursday and Friday. This was working well for a while, but again, like I said, if I wouldn't be visually checking their work, they would check it off, but actually not do it. So when I would find out that they didn't do it, it would be checked off, but it wouldn't be there. It wouldn't be actually done. So I was finding that they had a lot of work missing. So finally, towards the end of the school year of all times, I finally figure out that the best way to do this is by adding a little accountability checklist here. So, see, we have to do a minimum of 36 weeks. So I figured this out at week 33. The good thing about homeschool is that you as the parent/teacher are always learning what works for you and your kids as well, and it's never too late or too early to start implementing that. So I got this idea from this homeschool planner that we're going to be using with the boys next year. The older 2 boys, I figured they were ready to have their own homeschool planner and not have to have all their lessons in my homeschool planner. I'm still going to use the homeschool planner, but for the 2 little ones and for our group work. So this is called 40 Weekly Assignment Book. It's like $2 and change on rainbowresource.com, so I got one for each of the older boys. And let me see, because I did already start writing in here. So here is a blank weekly checklist here. Let's see if you can. Okay, so I got that idea for the 3 little check boxes right here. And it says, sorry, you can't really see it. Here we go. So it has subject, assignment, and then you can write in the due date, then you can check it off, and then you can write in your grade. But I figured since my boys don't need a due date or a grade per se, I would have them check off the first box that they've done it, and then when I visually check that they did it, I would check off the second box, and then when I grade or actually check the answers of the work, then I would check off the grade box. So I got that idea from their lesson planner for next year, and I decided to implement it now the last 3 weeks of our homeschool year to see and to get them accustomed to doing it that way and to see how it works. It's been working beautifully, but it's not only the checklist that is the system that works. I still list their things out by day because they're still not yet ready to handle the responsibility of breaking up their weekly into daily tasks. They still need it by day. Now, the second part that goes with this, and I can't take full credit for this, a lady in one of the homeschooling groups that I'm in said that she knew someone who did this, or she did this, and she suggested that I do it as well. I didn't exactly copy exactly what she said, but I took what she said and used it as a starting point to create my own system. And basically, what that system is having every assignment be something. Each completed assignment will earn them something. And for my kids, their most valued thing is screen time, whether it's watching TV, watching YouTube, Minecraft games, playing video games, playing on the games on the phone, on the apps, or playing the apps on the iPad, or playing on the Xbox or the PlayStation, any kind of screen time. So let me go ahead and turn this camera around and share that with you guys so you're not just stuck looking at my kids' homeschool lesson plan. Okay, so like I was saying, what was suggested was that each accomplished assignment or task earned them something that they truly enjoy. And I chose screen time because, in all honesty, they were lying about completing their work when they hadn't actually done it because they were rushing to get to the screen time. Whether it was playing a video game or watching someone else play a video game on YouTube or watching a TV show or a movie or whatever. So they were trying to get out of work to have more free time to do their favorite activity, which is anything in front of a screen. So in order for them to earn their screen time, they have to earn minutes. And every lesson completed, I sat down one evening at the end of the night, you can't really see this well, but in my bed, and I just sloppily wrote down some ideas / requirements that would earn the boys screen time for completing their schoolwork that day, every day. So here's what I came up with. I decided that based on how much screen time I'm willing to allow them to have a day is how I determine how much minutes each subject would be worth. The person who suggested this to me suggested it be monetary. I didn't choose to do monetary because my situation was different, but I took the basis of her suggestion and turned it into this. So for every subject that they complete, they earn 5 minutes of screen time. Now this is only for the older two boys, and on any given day, even on a shorter day, they can earn up to about an hour of screen time a day. So if they choose to use that hour that day, if we have time for them to watch screen time that day, they can use their hour. But if not, it adds up and it continues to add up through the weekend, so that way on the weekend they have screen time available to them as well. For every missed or incomplete subject, I deduct 5 minutes off of whatever total they already have. If they lie about doing their work, it's an automatic discipline and restriction. Discipline meaning physical discipline, like a spanking, because they lied. Their screen time that they have already accumulated would be wiped out and they would start from 0. They would be on restriction. Basically, that meaning no screen time. They would still be allowed to play outside, like they wouldn't be locked in their room. But restriction meaning all your screen time is taken from you, and any minutes that you had accumulated over however long is back to zero. You lose it because you lied to us. And the lying isn't only about verbally lying. This is about them deceiving and sneaking and lying over a continual amount of time about doing their work when in reality they weren't doing their work. So it's more than just a verbal lie. It's the action of deceiving. It goes deeper than just a quick verbal lie. So if they are caught in this same cycle again, because they would be on restriction from their screen time, they would temporarily during that restriction lose their free time, meaning their outside time, until they complete all of the work that they lied about doing. So they still have to do the work. They're not getting out of it. When they finish that work, and this includes on the weekends, on a holiday, I don't care. If we find out again that they have snuck and not done their work for X amount of days when they said they were doing it, they will be doing work during their week break. Every 5 or 6 weeks that we normally take a break, they will be spending that week doing their work, or that weekend doing their work, until they catch up and they are back up to date on their work. So basically, now moving on from the lying issue, if it's just a regular day and they have work missing, but they're not lying about it, but they just didn't have enough time, so they say, or they wasted their time talking and playing, that they couldn't complete their day's assignments that day, they, again, will not have any free time or screen time. Not as a restriction, but until they get their work done. So if they wasted all their time during the day doing school, not doing their work, they didn't waste their school time. They wasted their screen time, their free time. So they still have to get their work done, and they're not allowed to have any screen time or free time until all of their work is completed. We have chosen as a family to cut off all screen time 1 hour before bedtime. So during a school day or a night when we have school the next day, it would be 8 o'clock. No more screen time after 8 o'clock because bedtime is at 9. That goes for all of our boys. On the weekend or holiday days or days where there's no school, we have our boys go to bed at 10. They still have a bedtime even on no school days, because they don't do well when they don't have a bedtime. It completely throws off their sleeping patterns. They're exhausted during the day because they go to bed at 1, 2, 3, 4 in the morning, especially at grandma and grandpa's house, and they just aren't. They're miserable. They cannot function without that structure. They bounce back eventually, but it takes a couple days of us being on them about having a bedtime, sleeping regular sleeping patterns, getting up at a reasonable hour. Even on the weekends, I don't let them sleep until 1, 2, 3 in the afternoon. That's ridiculous. And I do that because they work best with that. A requirement also is that they are responsible for presenting their daily work for me to visually check each day. If they forget to present their work to me, and I have to ask them at the end of the evening and say, bring your work to me to check, my prompting that automatically nulls any minutes they would have earned. They don't earn minutes that day because I had to be the one to prompt the visual checking of their work. So this is not to be mean, though they would probably think otherwise. This is to put the responsibility and accountability on them to say, oh man, bedtime's in 15 minutes, mom didn't check my work, I need you to check my work. Okay, fine. At least verbally tell me, here, I'm presenting you my work to check. Now, if I don't check it right that second because I'm busy, that's fine. I might check it a little later. I might even check it after you go to bed, but you still will earn your minutes because you initiated that prompting to have your work checked. So once I check it, I will then tally up what they earned or lost, depending on if they got their work done that day. And I will keep a log. So here's the log. I write the date, plus or minus however many minutes, and I have you see here, K and M, that's for the oldest and the second oldest, and they either earn or lose for that day. And then I have their totals over here, but they've only lost minutes for incomplete work once out of this 2 weeks that we've been doing it so far. And that's because they wasted their time and they had more work incomplete or just not done than they did have done. So it'll balance itself out. Like one of them had 30 minutes of earned screen time, but then negative 15 minutes because of incomplete work. So he only got 15 minutes that day. Another thing we added that my husband suggested is that if they complete all of their subjects that day, they get a bonus 10 minutes. And so long as they presented their work to me and I didn't have to prompt it from them. So they do get a bonus for being diligent and completing their entire days of work that day. And it's checked and verified that all of it was done. So I keep a tally of their minutes, and either they can lose minutes by being lazy during the day and wasting their time and not getting their work done, or they will get negative from their balance when they use the minutes. Another thing that we chose as our family's kind of like stipulation, first and foremost, me and Dad state how much screen time they're allowed to have at any time. Whether they have minutes for 5 hours or not. If we only say 30 minutes for that day, only 30 minutes. If we say an hour, it's an hour. Also, if we're doing something like a family movie night where it's, because me and their dad usually have to prompt that movie night for all of us to do it together, the kids won't really ask or want to do that. Usually the older ones want to get out of it, but we force them to sit with us for movie night. We don't use their minutes for that. That's not on them. Their screen time is their personal screen time, not like, oh, sit down, we're going to force you to watch The Land Before Time and you're 13 because we have little ones. We don't make them use their minutes for that. Also, during their week vacation or their summer vacation, they're not going to use minutes for that. Will they keep their minutes that they earned this year into the beginning of next year? Yes, they'll keep it. But the weekends during school, yes, they use their minutes. But on the weekends / week that we don't have school and we're on break or vacation, no minutes. One other restriction or kind of guideline, we choose that there will be no more than 2 hours of screen time on any school day and no more than 4 hours of screen time on any weekend or vacation day. That's just, and even I think that's a lot, but my husband he doesn't mind the screens and the games, so we gotta kind of compromise. So that is how I had to tweak the lesson planner for me and my older boys to encourage more accountability, more independence from them, and some, accountability. But it's been working. So if you're struggling with a kid that just refuses to do his or her work, they're an independent, old enough to work independently and they're just kind of hiding it or not doing it and they're saying they're doing it, maybe try out the system with, it could be with screen time or it can be monetarily or it can be, I don't know, with outside play time, whatever works for your kid. I chose to do what they value most, and that is their screen time. So I will definitely have the link below so you can see the rest of like the planner layout, and that video also has links to anything I did print out online from free printables. Those links should be there as well. I'll double check just in case. So check out the description box for any pertaining links or videos that go along with this planner. I will not be using this planner again next year, just to save myself time, ink, and paper. This year it was just easier for me to purchase a homeschool planner, which will be my first year doing that. So I hope that this little quick planner video has helped you. I know it ended up turning more into a how to make sure your kid is doing their work video, but the planner was the main thing that really helped with that, and that suggestion from that other homeschooling mom really helped. And I don't remember her name. There's hundreds of people in that group, otherwise I would completely give credit. But she doesn't have like a YouTube video or anything like that, and I don't know her personally. It was many comments on that post because I was struggling with them lying about their work, and many people commented, so I don't even remember the name of the person who suggested this out of all the people who gave me suggestions. So if you guys enjoyed this video, definitely give it a thumbs up. It helps me, even though I'm a small channel, if I get thumbs up, even the thumbs down, it helps me to get viewed more on YouTube, so that this could help other homeschooling families that may be struggling with some of the homeschool difficulties that I had to deal with this year and last year. And homeschooling's not always easy, and it's not always pretty, and sometimes you want to quit and rip your hair out and choke the freaking crap out of your kids. That's the reality of it. But the benefit of homeschooling, I have found, has far outweighed the struggles, and it's worth it. So we are going to continue homeschooling, and I'm sure I'll have more moments like this next year, and I'll be sharing them with you at the end of next year. Give this video a like, share, and subscribe, and until next time, thank you so much for watching. Bye!